wide shot of a dusty Montana settlement in 1876. Horses tied to rails, men drinking outside a saloon. A group of ranchers laugh and slap their knees, passing around a crumpled letter. They have found a wife for the crippled mountain man, a paralyzed woman no one else would take. To them, it is the funniest joke of the year. Close-up of the paralyzed woman, Miriam, 28 years old, sitting in a wooden wheelchair carved by her late father. Her dark hair is pinned neatly, her green eyes sharp and intelligent, her hands folded in her lap. She overhears the men laughing outside the trading post. She does not cry. She has not cried since the accident that took her legs. The mountain man, Garrett Cole, 45 years old, with a scarred face and hands rough as bark, standing outside his cabin when he hears the news. A trader brings him the letter, laughing as he reads it aloud. Garrett's face does not change. He has been the town's joke for 20 years. One more changes nothing. Garrett riding into town the next day, his horse mud-splattered, his coat patched in 3 places. He finds Miriam sitting alone outside the trading post, her wheelchair stuck in the mud, no one offering to help. He dismounts, walks to her without a word, and pushes her chair free. She looks up at him and says nothing. He says nothing back. Garrett kneeling beside Miriam's chair, his weathered face level with hers, his voice low and rough. He tells her he has nothing, no money, no fine things, no future anyone would want. He tells her the men sent her as a joke, and he will not force her to be part of it. She studies his face for a long moment, then asks if his cabin has a window facing east. Close-up of Garrett's confused face as he nods slowly, telling her it does. Miriam smiles a small real smile and says she has not seen the sunrise in 3 years. She asks him to take her to his cabin, not as a wife, but as someone who wants to watch the morning come. He stares at her, then stands and lifts her into his arms. Garrett carrying Miriam to his wagon, her wheelchair tied to the back, her body light against his chest. The men from the saloon watch and whistle, calling out cruel jokes. Garrett does not look at them. Miriam does not look at them. They look only at each other. 2 people who have learned that silence is stronger than cruelty. The journey to Garrett's cabin taking 2 days. Miriam riding in the wagon bed wrapped in blankets, watching the mountains grow taller. Garrett speaks little, but when she asks questions about the peaks, the rivers, the names of the birds, he answers each one. She learns he knows the wilderness the way most men know their own hands. Arriving at the cabin, Miriam's seeing it for the first time small, rough, but situated on a rise overlooking a valley of wild grass and a creek. Garrett lifts her from the wagon and carries her inside, setting her on a cot by the east-facing window. He builds a fire, makes tea, and says nothing about the arrangement. She watches him work and feels something she thought she had lost. Morning, the first sunrise Miriam has seen in years. Gold and pink spilling across the valley, illuminating her face through the cabin window. Garrett sits on the porch, his back to her, giving her the moment alone. She presses her hand to the glass, tears sliding down her cheeks, and whispers thank you to a god she had stopped speaking to. Weeks passing, Miriam learning the rhythms of the cabin, directing Garrett to raise shelves to her height, to lower the table so she can reach it from her chair. She begins to sew, her hands quick and skilled, creating shirts and dresses finer than anything in the settlement. Garrett sells them in town, and word spreads of the quality. Garrett returning from town with orders, dozens of them, women wanting Miriam's sewing, men wanting her leatherwork. He sets the list on the table, his face puzzled, and asks how she learned to make such things. Miriam tells him her father was a craftsman, and she watched him every day until she could do it with her eyes closed. She tells him her legs may not work, but her hands have never failed her. Months passing, the cabin transforming new furniture built by Garrett to Miriam's specifications, a workshop added to the side, a ramp leading from the door to the garden. Miriam sits in the doorway, directing Garrett like a general, and he follows her orders without complaint. The men in town stop laughing when they see the prices her work commands. One evening, Garrett's sitting across from Miriam by the fire, his hands stained with wood polish, her hands stained with dye. He asks her why she does not hate the world for her legs, for the jokes, for the family that abandoned her. She is quiet for a long moment, then tells him hate is heavy, and she has no room for it. She has work to do. Close-up of Garrett's face as her words settle into him, his rough features softening in the firelight. He tells her the men sent her as a joke, but she is the least funny thing he has ever seen. She asks what she is. Then, he looks at her, his voice breaking, and says she's the first thing in 20 years that has made him want to live. The settlement catching fire one night, a kitchen accident spreading through the dry wooden buildings. Garrett rides in to help, but Miriam cannot go. She sits in her cabin, her hands gripping her chair, listening to the distant shouts and crackling flames. She prays for the first time since her accident, not for herself, but for him. Garrett returning at dawn, his face black with soot, his hands bandaged, but alive. He finds Miriam waiting at the door, her face pale, her eyes red from crying. He kneels in front of her chair, takes her hands in his burned ones, and tells her the settlement is gone. Then he tells her he does not care. He has everything he needs right here. The survivors of the fire coming to Garrett's cabin, homeless and desperate, begging for help. Miriam organizes them, assigning tasks, directing the rebuilding from her chair. The men who once laughed at her now take orders from her. The women who pitied her now ask her advice. She becomes the heart of the new settlement, and no one jokes about her legs anymore. A year later, Garrett carrying Miriam to the top of the ridge, setting her chair on a flat rock where she can see the entire valley. Below them, the new settlement rises cabins, a church, a schoolhouse. Miriam designed half of them. Garrett built most of them. She turns to him, her green eyes bright, and asks if he remembers the joke they were supposed to be. A final wide shot of Garrett and Miriam on the ridge at sunset, her chair beside his horse, his arm resting across her shoulders. Their faces are illuminated by the golden light, showing peace, pride, and the quiet triumph of two people the world threw away. Behind them, the settlement bustles with life homes, children, hope. And in the center of it all, a ramp leading to a cabin with a window facing east.